So if you're a Bitcoiner like myself and you want liquidity without getting hit with a taxable event by selling your Bitcoin, I want to talk about what LEDN just came out with, including how they cut all spreads from 1.75% to just 50 bips. I'm going to show you my active loan, what all this means, how to pay off my loan. I'm going to do this live on the computer right here for you guys and explain to you exactly how this works, how the loans work, how to pay off the loan, and how quickly I got my loan when I took this out on July 9th. A quick disclosure before I continue, this video is sponsored by LEDN, but I am a customer, as you can see right here. This is my real loan. Nothing here is financial advice. Always do your own research, of course. So the big change I want to reference in this video and talk about is that the spreads for trades, the loans, the loan repayments, and the liquidations are now just 50 bips. So this is down 70% from where they were before. So what this allows people to know is exactly how much it'll cost to repay your loan. So I'm going to go over all of this later in the video, exactly how this works, going over the loan information, and also showing you guys how to repay the loan as well. So the simple example of this is that if you had a $10,000 loan, the spread in order to repay your loan would just be $50, which would be, again, 50 bips. It used to be a lot higher at around 1.75% or $175, but now they've slashed that amount to 50 bips for all of their products, which makes them insanely competitive and, in my experience, the lowest out of all the different lenders. So this gives customers like myself that want to take out a loan a lot more transparency. There's also no hidden fees. There's no early repayment penalties, none of that stuff. So if you didn't see my first video, I want to go over how this all works. So you can take out a loan using Bitcoin. LEDN is a Bitcoin-only company. You can only use Bitcoin as collateral. So for example, if I wanted a $500 loan, I would have to give 0.00848, etc. Bitcoin in order to get a $500 loan. This would be at a 50% loan to value ratio, so how much my loan is compared to the value of my collateral. And the APR is 12.4%. There's no admin fee, and there's no prepayment penalty, none of that stuff. So collateral is held securely in segregated on-chain addresses that are verifiable by LEDN. This ensures that the collateral is legally ring-fenced from a funding partner's assets, like, again, what happened with FTX and how everything was commingled, and protected even in the unlikely bankruptcy of our funding partner. Collateral is held securely in custody throughout the loan. Neither LEDN nor our funding partners have the right to lend out the loan collateral to generate interest. So again, if you were involved in other companies like FTX or Celsius, they were taking your Bitcoin, our crypto, and they were taking insane YOLO bets with it, and they were not keeping it in custody, especially not in a segregated on-chain address that we can verify. So it is very, very different than all the nonsense that happened back in 2021 and 2022. So all the loans start out at 50% loan to value, but the market price of Bitcoin can change the loan to value ratio or the percent. So for example, right now, Bitcoin's around 120K, and let's say the price of Bitcoin goes higher, that'll lower your loan to value. If the price of Bitcoin goes a lot lower to, let's say, 70%, this is where you will have to top up your loan. So that would be, in this example, an $85,000 Bitcoin. If you don't top up your loan at 80%, you will be liquidated. So you definitely want to be aware of the price of Bitcoin. If it drops to $80,000, you should be repaying some of this loan. You could also enable an auto top-up feature, which it'll automatically top up your loan if the LTV gets too high and if Bitcoin drops too much in price. So this is my loan right here. I took out a $1,000 loan, and I created this loan on July 9th. The following day, as you can see right here, they deposited $1,000 into my bank account. So this entire process happens so quickly. So what I'm going to do right here is show you this loan. So my loan to value is 48%, which is very good because the price of Bitcoin is higher than when I took out the loan on July 9th. You can see the annual interest rate of 12.4%. and the maturity date of July 10th. So that would be 1 year from when I took out the loan. This is my initial collateral, which is around $2,000 or so, daily interest of 33 cents, and then the principal amount of $1,000. This is where you can see the loan amount, the interest rate amount, and everything going on with the loan, including the total cost of borrowing, which is $124. So what I'm going to do right now is repay my loan. So I'm going to click repay right here, and it gives me a few different ways to repay. You can repay with Bitcoin. So how that would work is I can repay my loan directly using my loan collateral. This payment will be processed instantly. So by paying the full balance, it'll automatically close my loan. I would be selling around $1,029 of Bitcoin, and then the remaining amount of my collateral, which would be around $1,133, will be automatically sent to my Bitcoin transaction account. And this is an account where you can then withdraw to wherever you want to go. So right here, it would go directly to this account, and I could withdraw this to a hardware wallet or wherever you want. So the other way of doing it is a wire transfer. So here you would enter this wire information and you would send this exact amount of US dollars. And the third way, which I'm going to show you right now, is repaying my loan with USDC. So if I click here, it says you can make repayments of $100 or more, or fully repay your loan at any time. Just ensure that your loan balance is at least $500 after partial repayments. So you can do partial repayments. This would be repay part of your loan amount and keep your loan open, reduce your total interest payment while keeping the interest rate unchanged, and also lower your liquidation risk, also known as that loan to value percent. So you can do this partial repayment, or you can fully repay your loan and close your loan. The collateral is instantly returned to your transaction account upon loan closure. So I'm going to fully repay the loan for you guys right now. So I'm going to click max, and this loads up exactly what I need to pay in order to close my loan. And after I enter my two-factor authentication and click submit, I'm going to have the collateral sent to my Bitcoin transaction account. All right, just click submit, and let's see this go through. There we go. It says your loan repayment has been processed. And let me get out of here. No longer have a loan. I have one inactive loan. So it happens immediately, which is awesome. And then go to my Bitcoin transaction account, and voila, there is my Bitcoin. So from here, I can just immediately withdraw that Bitcoin. I can click max if I wanted to send it all out, paste my Bitcoin address, and then click submit. Processing time, 1 business day. I'm not concerned with that at all because they do need to manually review this kind of stuff, and there is no transaction fee. And as always, there is no repayment penalty. So I could pay this loan off today. Well, actually I just did. Or I could pay it off in a few months, and there's no penalty for repaying it before the year's up. So if Bitcoin dropped to like 90K, I could have done a few things. I could have closed the loan, or I could have added more collateral. Those would have been 2 other options had the loan to value changed in a way that I needed to do something, right? If Bitcoin dropped. But it was that easy to close my loan. My Bitcoin is deposited immediately, and I could withdraw that right now if I wanted to. So the website gives a lot of information like who is LEDN, what services do they offer, is LEDN a regulated company, how do they store deposited digital assets, also known as crypto, what is the proof of reserves attestation and how does it work. So if you're planning on using them, if you're planning on taking out a loan, I highly recommend doing your own due diligence and learning who they are, what they're about, how they work. So they do have a track record of audits, proof of reserves, and they've been around since 2018 with no issues. But as always, do your own research when it comes to taking out loans and doing things with your money in crypto. So with them lowering the spreads and making it the same across the board, they are now again incredibly competitive with all the other competitors out there in the marketplace. So this gives a lot of people more reassurance when they take a loan because they know upfront exactly what the fees are going to be. There's no hidden fees whatsoever. And not only do they know what the fees are going to be or the spread, but they also can compare it with other companies and realize that LEDN is insanely competitive, and also that LEDN straight up beats most of the competition, if not all of it, right? So it's very important that if you're taking out a loan, you know exactly what the fees are. Also, these loans are really, really cool because they allow people to get liquidity without getting hit with capital gains taxes, without getting hit with a taxable event, at least if you live in the United States. Now, talk to your CPA, but that's one of the reasons that I closed my loan with USDC, because I believe if you close your loan with Bitcoin, that is selling Bitcoin. So that would lead to some sort of taxable event. I could be wrong, but I know that paying a loan with USDC or a wire transfer is not going to incur any taxable events if you live in the United States. So basically, back in June, I got $1,000 and I could have taken that money and bought Bitcoin with it or done anything I want with it, right? That is money that they deposited into my checking account in one business day. And I could have used that to pay bills with. I could have used that to buy more Bitcoin. That is money that I could do whatever I want with. All I have to be aware of is, again, if the price of Bitcoin drops, I need to be aware of those levels in order to top up my loan or partially repay my loan, etc. And also I have to be able to pay the interest. But other than that, this is a way, again, to get liquidity, to get money without selling your Bitcoin. So if you want to explore a Bitcoin-backed loan with LEDN, you can check out the link in the video description. That'll take you to the website where you can check it out and take out a loan if you'd like. So that is it for the video, guys. Hope you are doing well. Till next time, talk with you soon, and bye for now.